Mario Cristobal has left Oregon to become the next head coach for the Miami Hurricanes. Manny Diaz was relieved of his coaching duties today, and now Cristobal will take over as the next head man of Miami and will be pegged as the next coach to save Miami football. We saw the same thing with Al Golden, same thing with Mark Richt, and same thing with Diaz. Will Cristobal just become the next coach to go into the Miami graveyard, or will he finally bring the Canes back to where everyone wants them to be? Well, in today's video, I'm going to introduce you to who Mario Cristobal is, what I think of this hire, if he will actually succeed, and why I'm a little bit skeptical. But right before we get into it, nearly 80% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, and we're now on the road to 100K, so quickly be sure to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button for the algorithm, and turn on post notifications so you never miss when I upload. Now, let's talk about Mario Cristobal. Mario was born in Miami, Florida in 1970 and eventually became an offensive lineman. He went to Christopher Columbus High School in Miami, Florida and chose to stay home and play for the Miami Hurricanes. Between 1988 and 1992, he played and won 2 national championships. He was a first-team All-Big East selection as an offensive tackle and would eventually graduate from Miami in 1993. In terms of his NFL career, he signed a free agent deal with the Denver Broncos, and he also even played for the Amsterdam Admirals in NFL Europe, but in 1996, he went into coaching. His coaching career would begin with the Hurricanes as he became a graduate assistant under Butch Davis from 1998 to 2000. From 2001 to 2003, he ended up becoming the tight ends coach for Rutgers under Greg Schiano, where he would later return to Miami to be the tight ends coach for them under Larry Coker. That would last until 2006, when he was named the head coach at Florida International. He was 36 years old and, fun fact, was the first Cuban-American head football coach in Division I history. The Panthers had gone winless the previous year, and he implemented a spread style of offense, and he was going to turn around Florida International like Schiano turned around Rutgers. The Panthers would struggle in his first year as they would lose their first 11 games. They finally broke a 23-game losing streak with a win over North Texas, and the team and program had shown improvement. In year 2 in 2008, they ended up going 5-7, and then in 2009 they went 3-9. It looked like all the momentum was falling off, but the administration had faith in him and decided to bring him back in 2010. They would get rewarded as they would go 6-6 in the regular season, and Cristobal would get his 7th win in the Little Caesars Bowl. This was huge for the program, and then he followed it up with an 8-5 campaign with a bowl loss. He had brought this team from winless to making 2 straight bowl games, so Cristobal was likely going to stay the head coach there. Right? Wrong. After a disastrous campaign, he was fired. The athletic director said, quote, "He's done a very good job for this program, but we've gone backwards over the last year and a half. Over the last 22 games in particular, we've gone 8-14. This was apparently heavily criticized, and after what he had done for the program, there was no reason for them to do Mario Cristobal like that. So, like all big-time coaches with real potential, he was swooped up by the best of the best, Nick Saban. He was originally hired by Miami to be a tight ends coach, but Saban swooped in and hired him to become an assistant head coach, an offensive line coach, and the recruiting coordinator. While he was at Alabama, Cristobal was an elite recruiter, finishing number 1 in each of his 4 years there. He was named the National Recruiter of the Year by 24/7 Sports and continued to do well on the trail. He also had a spectacular offensive line in 2015, and that line was given the Joe Moore Award, which was given to the toughest and most physical offensive line in the country. Guys like Ryan Kelly and Cam Robinson were on that line, but from there, Cristobal would decide to go out to the Pac-12. He joined Willie Taggart's staff at Oregon and became the offensive line coach while also recruiting and being a co-offensive coordinator. After Taggart decided to bolt ship to go home to Florida State, Cristobal was named the interim head coach on December 5th of 2017. 3 days later, it was officially announced that he'd be the permanent head coach of the Ducks program. In 2018, he had a star quarterback in Justin Herbert and a young star freshman in CJ Verdell at running back. The Ducks had a great year as they ended up going 8-4 in the regular season and eventually beat Michigan State in the Red Box Bowl. While they didn't get to the Pac-12 championship, he was recruiting at a high level, he had some stars for the future, and there was a lot to be excited about. Herbert decided to come back in 2019, and because of that, there was unbelievable hype that the Ducks could go to the playoff. Herbert ended up having a great year, and both CJ Verdell and Travis Dye were great, but a Week 1 loss to Auburn put them behind the 8 ball. They did win their next 9 games, but all hope was lost when Jaden Daniels threw a pass to Brandon Ayuk, and Arizona State won 31-28, officially eliminating them from playoff contention. The Ducks still would get to the Pac-12 championship, where they would beat number 5 Utah 37-15 and eliminate the Utes from playoff contention. From there, they go to the Rose Bowl, and after a great performance by Herbert, they beat the number 8 Wisconsin Badgers 28-27, and Cristobal finished with a 12-2 record with an 8-1 mark in the Pac-12 in year 2. 2020 is when things would get a little bit weird for not only him, but the entire world. We all know it happened, and in particular, the Pac-12 had a strange situation as they didn't play a lot of games, and they really dealt with a lot of positive cases. Because of that, Oregon would not only have that to deal with, but they'd also have to break in a new quarterback. Tyler Shuck was a blue-chip recruit coming out of high school, and he did alright for the first few games of the year, but after losses to Oregon State and California, Anthony Brown would get an opportunity. He was a transfer from Boston College, and he'd eventually take over in the Iowa State game. They ended up going to the Pac-12 championship where they beat USC, and then lost to Iowa State in the Fiesta Bowl. The Ducks ended up going 4-3 in year 3, but 2021 was going to be a bounce-back season. Led by Anthony Brown, Travis Dye, and CJ Verdell, the Ducks would have an opportunity to get a college football playoff resume-boosting win as they would play against Ohio State in Week 2. Everything was shaping up for a college football playoff run. Led by Verdell and Brown, they even went on the road to Columbus and beat number 3 Ohio State, but just 3 weeks later, they lost in overtime to Stanford, and had Stanford just dropped one pass in regulation, they would have won that game. While it was tough for Oregon, they were still in the playoff mix, and were even put in the college football playoff rankings. They got all the way up to 9-1, where they'd play on the road against number 23 Utah. In this game, it was a disaster. Utah scored 28 points in the first half and killed the Ducks 38-7. They would beat their rival Oregon State in the Civil War the next week, but then in the Pac-12 championship, the wheels started to fall off. They rematched against Utah and got blown out 38-10. They finished with a 10-3 record, and now they will play against Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. I don't know what it is about Utah, but the Ducks could not get anything done against them, and it seemed like the team quit a little bit in the Pac-12 championship. Maybe that's because there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Manny Diaz had a very difficult start to the 2021 season, but the team fought back, made a bowl, and found a new star quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke. That didn't matter though, as Miami football was falling off a little bit, and they wanted to can Manny Diaz. The problem was, they didn't want to fire Diaz without knowing they had a coach. They contacted Cristobal, and there were rumors swirling all week that he was going to leave Oregon for Miami. They finally fired Diaz and announced they had hired Cristobal. He's going to return back home to his alma mater, where his family is, and try to save this program. Cristobal said, quote, "My family and I are excited to return home to the University of Miami, which has been so instrumental in shaping me as a person, player, and as a coach. This program has had unparalleled tradition and an exciting future ahead of it. I can't wait to compete for championships and help mold our student athletes into leaders on and off the field who will make our university, our community, and our loyal fan base proud." So obviously, everyone is super excited for him to come back, but I'm not quite sure how good of a fit this will be. Cristobal does not run the most flashy offense in the world, and his record at Oregon isn't as good as people think. We all know that Mark Helfrich got fired, and many thought it was because he didn't perform well. Well, in Helfrich's time at Oregon, he went 37-16. Guess what Cristobal's record at Oregon was? It was 35-13. Those records eerily similar, and if 2020 had played out as normal, I could have very well seen him have more losses than Helfrich. It didn't seem Oregon could win those really big games, and they were just so inconsistent. They beat Ohio State one day, and then lose to Stanford the next. While Cristobal will have a lot of talent to work with down in South Florida, the expectations are higher at Miami than they are at Oregon, and we see time and time again coaches that go back to their alma mater, and it doesn't work. In my eyes, Cristobal was building something at Oregon. With how well he was recruiting and the kind of players he was bringing in, that team could have easily controlled the Pac-12 North for years to come, and I feel like getting to the playoff would be a little bit easier there. I truly believe Clemson football will be back, and now if he wants to get to the playoff, he's going to have to get through the Tigers, which is a tall task. He's also going to have a ton of pressure, and he's going to have to perform. In my eyes, it is a little bit of a step down or a stepping stone, as I don't believe Miami is a better job than Oregon. While there is more talent in the area, Oregon has been the better program over the last decade, and as I've already said, I think he'll have a better opportunity to win there. It makes sense emotionally, but career-wise, I don't know. I've never fully been sold on Cristobal, but I do think he's a great person, and I'm curious to see how he will do at Miami. We can all agree Manny Diaz got screwed. What do you guys think though? If you're an Oregon fan, what do you think of all this mess and who will be your new head coach? If you're a Miami fan, what do you think of Cristobal and how he will do? And what's another topic I could take a look at in my next video? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section, smash that like button for the algorithm, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.